Hello Facebook and YouTube. Today on How Hugh, I'm going to show you how I personally put beaver tail grips onto a bow. Now I'm sure there's a lot of different ways of doing this. I'm just going to show you the way that I do it. I've done it, I don't know, maybe half a dozen bows, 8, 9 bows. Done it on a bunch of them, recurves and longbows. For myself, I do it on longbows. For my sister, I'll put them on her recurves. And it comes out looking something like that. It's not terrible. So let me show you how I do that. Okay, when making the pattern, I get some clear plastic wrap to start with to protect the bow. And I wrap that around the handle portion. Then I'm going to make a wrap where I want the handle out of duct tape. So this takes just a little bit. You want to get this just exactly where you're going to want the beaver tail grip to cover. So you want it to be nice and straight everywhere that you want the beaver tail to be nice and straight. So take your time, because it needs to be right, or you won't like it. Okay, and for me, I think that's how I want my grip to be shaped. Okay. So now I need to, without damaging the bow, I need to remove this. I'm going to take a pair of scissors and I'm going to cut as straight as I can right up around the face right here, because that's where I'm going to lace it. So I need to cut that as nice and straight as I can. I'm using some, what are those, Kyosho hobby scissors. You can use something like this, something that has nice blunt edges on it, or maybe the little scissors that you trim baby's nails with. Those have a nice blunt edge on them too. And because you don't want to hurt the finish of your bow. Okay, sometimes I get this better than others. But anyways, remove some of the plastic. Leave some of it on there so you don't disrupt the pattern too much. Okay, and that'll go something like that. Now we're going to want to trace this onto a piece of beaver tail. This is on my border archery longbow. What is this? My Harrier. So there's that one. Here's the first one that I ever did. I had a really big beaver tail for this one, so I was able to get it so that the grain goes that way instead of that way, which is pretty cool. So that's on my, what is this? One of my bodnicks. So, and I used artificial sinew to lace it with that. I don't know if I like it that much. I think I just like some other kind of cord, but that's one that I did. Here's my most recent one I did for my sister. So I do recurve bows too. Usually, actually the recurves I've done have all been for my sister. And for all of mine, it's just been longbows. So that one turned out pretty good. And you know, I don't use any glue on these. They're form fit, and I'll show you that during the building process. And they don't move. And I know one of the bow makers who does a lot of these, he uses, I don't know, contact cement or barge cement or whatever he does. But I don't like using cement on mine. And because I've changed my mind about grips before. Sometimes I want them, sometimes I don't. I want to be able to just take it off without any ruining of the finish. So there's that one. Okay, you're going to want to get your beaver tails. I picked up a bunch of them at one time from a guy on eBay. He was selling them pretty cheap. So I just bought all that he had. And you would just, you know, find the one you want to use, lay it out. Now the beaver tails, you got to really look at them careful, because it's nothing for them to have a blemish in it, you know, and that's actually a hole. So, you know, I wouldn't want to use that one. And some of them have some thin spots. So you lay this out, get yourself a marker of some kind, and then just cut it out with scissors, big scissors. Now I got lucky, and I had this one cut out that I was going to make for an Apex ILF recurve that, no, it was a longbow, Apex ILF bow that I had, but I ended up selling it, so I never put this handle on it, and my pattern happens to fit right inside of that. So I'm just going to trace it onto here and use this one and save my intact beaver tails for another day. Now the absolutely best thing you can use for marking on this type of leather is an ink paint pen, you know, a leather marking paint pen. And I have one, or I had one, and I either misplaced it or I used it up and it dried out. So we're going to go to the other ways to do it, which aren't nearly as good. And we're going to see which way we want to lay this out. Okay. Those other ways to do it are, we can try a Sharpie. In that case, we're going to want to clean these edges up. Paint pen you can kind of power through. But as mentioned, I don't have a paint pen. Oh well. Okay. Sharpie works, it's just real hard to see. So we're just gonna do it nice and slow. Okay, there we go. Now we go to the next step. Okay, now we're going to soak it. Now the thing is, beaver tail doesn't absorb much water and it doesn't stretch much, but it does stretch some. And we're going to use that to our advantage when we go to put this on the bow. We're going to put it on wet, lace it up, and then it's going to dry down and really shrink fit on there. So we have to soak it and stretch it for a while. So here we go. Put in your bowl of water. Your first check, come check it in a I don't know, 2, 3, 4 hours. I've had to soak these things overnight before so that they would absorb what tiny little bit of water they would, so I could get them to stretch just a little bit. So just set this off to the side somewhere and go about your business. This has been in the water for a while, and I've been periodically stretching it and stretching it. So let's see how much it actually stretched. You know what? I don't know if this stretched enough to trim much. So we'll trim a little tiny bit off of one of the edges. Not a lot. Okay, I'm just going to trim just a little bit. Off one of the edges. Okay, just a bit. Let's go punch some holes in it. If I had my nice leather marking ink pen, I'd go ahead and use that, but I don't. So I'm going to mark some holes. I'm going to make some marks of where I want everything, and then I'll punch it. So I know I need them at the ends, how far I'm going from the edge. So I'm leaving a pretty good amount. Punch a real hole there. Okay, let's see if that shows. Does that show? Okay. Got the holes that we're going to lace through. Now, I'm not a great lacer, but let me show you how I do it. So you'll have to bear with me on this. I know that everybody else in the world can definitely lace better than I do. And if there was anybody around who could do it for me, bam, in a heartbeat, I would let them. Yeah, I'll be trimming a lot of this out for time. Okay, now I'm just going to work my way down. No, I got that all ugly. Oh my goodness. I am definitely not good at this. Okay, that's on there right now. So as we can see, that's a little bit loose. Well, it's not moving around, but we're going to let it set for a couple days, and then we'll take a look at it. And that's about as good as I can do on lace. I'm sure I know there's people who can do a million times better, but that's the best I got. And so let me go hang it up. And this stuff is you know, you can feel the temperature is different, but you're not getting any water out of that. This stuff really does not hold much water. And so we'll check that again tomorrow in about 24 hours, see how it looks, and then we'll look at it another 24 hours after that. Okay. Okay, here we go. It's not terrible. Looks pretty good. Comfortable. That one's done. Okay. Thanks for watching. If you have your own way of that you put these beaver tail grips on your bow, go ahead and put a link down in in the comments. And if you like these kind of videos, make sure to subscribe. Don't even bother hitting the like button. That doesn't do nothing for me. Unless you want to, and then I'll see, hey, wow, 4 people like my video. Anyways, go out and do something fun. Out.